The Mid Range Narcissist. Meet Malcolm, the Mid Range Narcissist. Say hello, Malcolm. Hello. Ever obliging is Malcolm, part of his charm. He doesn't have the Ubermensch mentality of the greater, and nor is he governed by the almost rash instinctive behaviour of the lesser narcissist. Malcolm is not so much defined by what he is, but by what he is not. Isn't that right, Malcolm? Isn't what right, my dear? You are a mid-range narcissist. Malcolm laughs. It is an affable laugh. He knows that a veneer of self-effacement is effective to get what he wants. He is not prone to the wild, outlandish boasts of the lesser, based on what he thinks he is, and therefore says as such as a matter of immediate response. Or the greater, who actually has the achievements and accomplishments to back up those boasts, but boasts about them the greater always must. Hey, what can I say? I like to look good, and you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. That's what I always say. You see, Malcolm thinks that is what a narcissist is, somebody who loves themselves. He lacks the higher function to know what it really means, and lacks the cunning to know it himself, but to deny it to those who would seek to topple him. He has some understanding, so the comment does not present as a criticism to him, but since he has a moderate degree of function, he knows enough to use it to maintain his facade of being a decent, likeable, and reliable fellow. For instance, if I was to say to Malcolm, "You are a likeable chap, I must say," he would respond, "Why, thank you, and may I say how lovely you look today?" That's most kind. Let's see how he responds to a little piece of provocation. If I was to tell him that he was not the first person to compliment me on my appearance, you would see it. There was a flash of the inner fury, but he kept it under control. Watch again. You see the sudden frown and the narrowing of the eyes as his jealousy starts to climb inside of him, as he feels the injury from his criticism. By talking about somebody else complimenting me on my appearance, I am suggesting that someone else might be interested in me, that I am not just Malcolm's. Of course, it was just a well-meant and polite compliment, but like all of their kind, Malcolm views the world from a position of suspicion and wariness. Wariness is an apt description for Malcolm. He doesn't erupt in the way that Lee, the lesser narcissist, might have done if I had made the same remark. Lee would have responded with insulting questions to my comment. The greater narcissist would show no sign of concern, but file the remark away to be used at the appropriate time, when the moment is exactly right. Anyway, let's get back to Malcolm. There is that flash of fury, but he has enough control to keep it held back, for now. He won't let it go, though. He cannot. Oh, really? Who said that? He asks. He asks in a tone of relative disinterest, but he is dying to know. He wants to know because he feels uncomfortable at this revelation. He does not know precisely why, although he knows he has to be wary about someone interfering with his partner, because, after all, he wants to maintain his facade of family man, with the dedicated wife and so forth. Steady Malcolm, who knows he is not amongst the elite of the world, but is also far from the underclass too. He has abilities, and people should recognize that. Okay, he is not the best, but he is still good. Very good, actually. Let's give him some more information. Oh, you know, the attendant at the petrol station. He chats to me every time I am in there. He probably fancies me. There it is again, the brief look of consternation. The fury is rising, but he is managing to keep a grip on it. But he won't be able to do so for long. He does not want to erupt. He knows that that will not do. That is not how he behaves. But he knows he needs to do something to counter this threat. He does not like the fact that I am accepting compliments from this interloper. I should only receive them from him. Yes, well, I was told by Lucy at the florist's that I look 10 years younger than my real age, he retorts. There we are. He is switching to an alternative fuel source. His level of function allows him to rely on a past event and still draw fuel from it. He is also looking to triangulate with me. The lesser would not be able to do that. Firstly, his fury would have erupted already, and secondly, even if it had not, he would struggle to bring up the previous compliment. His mind does not work that way. Malcolm can, though, and this is his way of switching the spotlight back onto him. He is also looking to get a reaction from me as well, to provide him with some fuel. Let's pretend that I haven't heard him. Yes, the guy at the garage. Luke he is called, strapping lad, so pleasant. He always tells me that my hair is looking nice, or that I smell gorgeous. He fair makes my day, I explain. Yes, well, he can't be too bright though, can he, if he is working in a garage? He responds. Malcolm doesn't say it as a question, but as a statement. He is losing control. The fury is coming. His comment had a dual purpose. You see, his mid-range function provides him with some weaponry in that regard. He wanted to cut down my comment in order to provoke a reaction from me, but also by stating that Luke is not very bright. He is undermining the compliments that Luke has sent my way. Malcolm's a little bit clever with it, you see. Oh, he just works there in between his studies, I answer. He is going to be an architect. He wants to show me some of his designs. I think I might do that. By pushing it a little more, you can see Malcolm's face is now set in a frown. He doesn't like it at all that I am not giving him any fuel, and moreover, that I am fawning over Luke. I am implicitly criticizing Malcolm. At least in his mind, that is the case. Malcolm won't respond in an outwardly aggressive manner. It's there if he is really pushed, if he feels cornered in some way, or has a frantic need for fuel. Then the fury will erupt as heated fury, and he will lash out. He can only keep the fury under control for a short while. The lesser can barely do so at all. The greater narcissist can and will, or will not, dependent on how the greater has calculated whether the unleashing of the fury will provide him with the greatest return at that instant. Malcolm is caught between the two. He can exert some control, but not enough to really deliver, and savage aggression is rarer with him. Watch now and see how his ignited fury manifests. Do you see? He has snatched up his phone and rings one of his secondary sources. He knows he does not like this feeling of being ignored, and he knows that to deal with it he needs attention from somewhere else. He does not know it as fuel, of course, only that when this happens, if I, his primary source, is letting him down, he has to either up his game with me and or draw attention from somewhere else. He rings somebody and speaks. Hi, Janice. Just wondering if you were still on for lunch today. There's no arranged lunch, but he knows that Janice likes him. He makes sure that this remains the case, and she is usually available. Notice the sideways glance to ensure that I have heard him. There is not the bold assertive move of the lesser through instinct, or the bold assertive move of the greater through calculation, but the wary steps that are the hallmark of the mid-range narcissist. Janice is going down the phone, and he feels better already, but he also wants a reaction from me. Who are you calling? I ask in a loud voice. Malcolm continues to talk. Yes, I thought so too, Janice. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. He is ignoring me. I repeat the question, but there is no response as he continues to talk into the phone and lap at the fuel from Janice, whilst also enjoying my irked expression. This is a short silent treatment from him as he refuses to acknowledge me. The mid-range narcissist uses the silent treatment more than any other category of narcissist because the mid-range is a creature who is passive-aggressive. The lesser uses them, of course he does, but they tend to be short-lived. The lesser will storm out of the house and disappear to a friend or a bar for an afternoon. The greater will organise the silent treatment and apply it for maximum effect. It will not be a knee-jerk reaction. The greater will apply silent treatments for a long time as well, but he does not use them as often as the mid-range narcissist. The silent treatment is the main method of manipulation. used by the mid-range narcissist. This is because it allows him to exert control. It can be used whilst preserving the facade. There won't be a sudden eruption and storming away with slammed doors and cries of, "You'll never see me again," but rather he will quietly depart for a period of time, or more likely, use a present silent treatment. The mid-range narcissist is a sulker. He has enough control to sit and say nothing to you, and drink up the fuel as you keep badgering him. He can sit and sulk for hours, days if need be. He can breeze around the house as if you are not there. Yes, Malcolm the mid-range narcissist revels in the effect of his silent treatments, and his dual approach here is providing dividends for him. I walk over to him and stand in front of him, hands on hips. He sees the gesture, and this fuels him further. But to him, it is as if I am not there. He just looks through me. Again, this is some of the discipline that I am afforded by him, by virtue of him being a mid-range narcissist. He ends the call and walks off, ignoring my comments, as they drift fuel-filled through the air to him. He won't shout back, he rarely does. He knows it is more effective to sulk, and also then the neighbours won't hear, so he remains seen as pleasant, the good neighbour Malcolm. He will probably head next door and hide there with Margaret for a couple of hours. He is good at cultivating a wide range of fuel sources. The lesser narcissist keeps his circles tighter, lacking the discipline to operate too many fuel lines. The greater, of course, has hundreds of fuel lines, because he can draw them in through his outlandish greatness, his achievements, and golden accomplishments. The mid-range narcissist does not shine as bright, but he has charm and ability, which he uses to develop many different fuel sources, and he can always rely on them. He does not have a high turnover, keeping many of them in the golden period for years. The mid-range is most likely to have long-standing friends going years back. The less from greater may have as well, but not in the same number of the length of time as the mid-range narcissist. So Malcolm will be away, giving me the silent treatment as he draws fuel from Margaret and then Janice. He knows how his silent treatment affects me, and that is why he uses it so often. Oh well, that's my day spoiled already, and he knows it. I suppose I had better go and fill up the car with fuel. I know a good garage, and a sympathetic ear to hear my woes.